As they set sail for the future, the designers of the new X-33 must overcome the formidable problems of the past. Their aim is to supersede the most complex and sophisticated space vehicle ever built, the Space Shuttle.
Columbia's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions.
But the shuttle never became the cheap, fully reusable workhorse that was promised. Each launch cost the best part of $1 billion.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
We, NASA, are limited in what we could do in space because we spend too much of our budget on launch. Of a budget of $13.8 billion, we're spending close to $5 billion a year on launch. Think what we could do with that money.
7, we have a go for main engine start.
As the shuttle fights the powerful pull of Earth's gravity with its massive rocket engines, it is lifting not just itself and its payload, but the enormous weight of all its fuel and oxidizer. To reach orbit, it has to accelerate to a speed of 17,500 miles an hour. And like every spacecraft before, it can only achieve this by shedding parts as it climbs.
You know, it takes off and the solid rocket boosters go into the ocean. Then the external tank falls away. So it's like a 3-stage vehicle. That's very expensive. Do you think we could build aircraft to go from New York to London and have, you know, the aircraft take off and then a piece drops off and then another piece? That's why it's inefficient.
For all its inefficiency, the shuttle can lift a cargo of 65,000 pounds in its large cargo bay, a tall order for the new vehicle which must somehow achieve the complete reusability which has eluded the shuttle.
So what we're talking about doing is building a rocket ship that takes off and everything that goes into space comes back. And then you reuse it over and over again. And all of a sudden, I begin to figure out how to do it lower cost. That's what we're talking about.
Offering a fixed budget of $1 billion, little more than the cost of one shuttle launch, NASA invited the nation's top aerospace companies to compete for the X-33 contract. Its goal? The creation of a test vehicle that could prove its reusability. To assess the designs, NASA brought in a task force of experts. The problem which the new concepts are trying to solve, getting to orbit in a fully reusable craft, is one that NASA has worked on before. From the 1940s to the end of the 60s, America ran a top-secret program that was as bold and dangerous as it was successful. Called the X program, X was the classified designation for experimental flying vehicles. Between 1947, when the X-1 first broke the sound barrier, and 1967, the X-planes increased their speed 6-fold. Tragically, in the process, a number of X-pilots lost their lives. The program culminated in the X-15. Dropped from a plane and powered by a rocket instead of a jet, it crossed the boundary of space 60 miles up, where the lack of air meant no jet could breathe. It looked as though space planes, not ballistic missiles, would be the best way to carry humans into space. But then something happened which threw this whole idea off course.